So one of the things that I also made for that robe was one of the weighted eye masks today, and I made it out of the Cloud and the Luxe. So you're gonna need to get 2 4x13-inch pieces of Cuddle, Luxe Cuddle, or Silky Satin, fusible interfacing, which is optional for the Silky Satin. You want a 90-14 stretch needle, polyester sewing thread, flower head pins, micro serrated scissors, a hand sewing needle, walking foot, the glass micro beads, which are the polyfill glasslets, a funnel, and I didn't put in there, but you need a spoon to put them in the funnel, and a zipper foot is optional. We need to mark this first. So 10.5, 6.5, 2.5, and I'm measuring from my cut raw edge here on one end, and then 1/2 inch. I'm going to sew the little lines that we just did with basically a stay stitching line, just a straight stitch, 3mm stitch length. It's not doing anything except marking it for me. We're gonna go ahead and pin it together. I'm gonna make sure my naps are going the same direction. I'm gonna pin all of my corners first. We're gonna go ahead and mark a 2-inch turning gap. So I'm gonna sew here and here. This is where I'm gonna do like those little L brackets. So on here, you can see this is where my little line is that drew the 1/2 inch. For a lot of people, it's easier to just follow that line and just sew on the line. You can absolutely leave these corners full and turn them inside out, or you can clip them. And I'm gonna clip them just because I liked the way it laid better. I'll show you the way that I like to do it is when I like to turn things. I like to kind of shove the end inside out, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push this out, and I'm going to use this end of it instead of the pointy end right now because I want to push it through and not accidentally shove the end through. This is, I think it's called point to point, I think is what it's called, because there's a hair marker on one end and a corner pusher outer. We can see in here where it got stuck in the nap, and we'll pull that out later. So in the pattern, it tells you how much to put into each section, and we're just going to fill it up a little bit at a time. The easiest thing is to stick the funnel in here, and we're going to measure it out. So then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of tap that down to make sure all the beads have fallen way to the bottom. I want to pin it while it's still kind of hanging in the air, okay? And that's so all the beads will stay down there. If you don't fill it quite so full, you can do what we say in the pattern, which is to put your zipper foot on this side of it. I filled it nice and full, so I'm just going to have to sew on that line that's hidden in there somewhere. I'm going to use my zipper foot, and so that I can keep the beads on one side and stitches on the other, I'm going to aim for that line. Now we're going to do it again, and do it again, and do it again. We're going to do one more little round of beads here. So now I am going to take my pin, stab it across here.
Polyester thread, hand sewing needle.
Polyester thread, hand sewing needle. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch right along that line. This is definitely one, because these beads, you can see how tiny they are. They will come out between these stitches if you don't stitch it really tight. So stitch it once, then come back and stitch it again. And then we can actually come back in here, fluff that up. All right.
I love it.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. That's it. Now I can go to bed. Happy sewing.